Hi, my name is Angel. Welcome back to my channel and happy October. I decided to kick off the month with what has kind of become an annual tradition on my channel, where for 1 week out of the month I ask my boyfriend to pick the horror books that I will be reading. So he has a big job because he's going to be picking my very first book for October today. So what I do is I go to the library and I pick up a bunch of horror books that are on my TBR, books that I'm interested in. If you are curious to see the process of how I picked them this year, I will link the video down below. That's in my October reading plans video. I put a bunch on hold. This is currently the stack that we have. I still have a few holds that I am waiting for, but this is a pretty good start. So this is what he is going to be picking from tonight. So that's pretty much the intro. I am going to turn the camera off and give him some time to look at the books if he wants to read the synopsis. Do you have any plans?
I'm gonna go completely off of the cover for the first one.
Okay, well then maybe I don't have to turn the camera off. You can just look at him. Alright, we're gonna hear his cover feedback.
Okay. First we're looking at Children of the Dark by Jonathan, and the last name's Jonathan Jans. It's cut off out of barcode. So interesting.
Interesting. Let's show everybody.
Don't let the forest in. It's kind of ominous. Ooh, dead silence.
Are you putting these all in one stack? Or are you separating? You want to lay them out?
I'm just having a good time looking at book covers right now, okay?
It's me every day.
The Hollow Kind. So a bear upside down. I kind of like upside down bear. You want to show the bear quick? Craft stories I wrote for the devil. Pretty vanilla, I'm not gonna lie. The cover's pretty bland.
Pretty vanilla.
Cold Skin.
That's that movie we watched. That like old guy that like. Do you remember that movie?
What?
You were there and I remember we were watching it and I was like, man, this movie would make such a good book. And then it turns out it is a book. Thoughts on the cover?
It's kind of meh.
That's how I feel. Pretty vanilla.
Ooh, Cursed Bread looks cool. Just cut and resize over it so it looks kind of...
What I'm gathering is you don't like this cover.
I don't know, it's just, it seems low effort, but, you know.
Alright. You've got them all laid out. What is the one that is speaking to you? I won't look. Ooh, I'm going to close my eyes. You can put it in my hand. I knew it was going to be the upside down bear. I was looking at this cover the other day and I was like, it's pretty cool.
I want to know what that's about, so now your goal is to read that and tell me what it's about.
So the first read for October is going to be The Hollow Kind by Andy Davidson. So I will see you guys once I start this. I am 50 pages into The Hollow Kind now, and I gotta be honest, I'm not really enjoying the writing style. Everything is extremely descriptive and it feels a little bit overwritten at times, and I'm just like not really having a good time so far. So I am just here to say this is my like official documentation that if I am not more interested in this by the 100 page mark, I'm going to DNF. So with that being said, let me go read the next 50 pages and see where it goes from here. I'm just like, I don't know, my eyes are glazing over and I'm like so confused at parts, which is like kind of my fault, but like he uses, okay, I don't know if I'm just like stupid because I've never heard this before. He refers to somebody as like his cat in the grass, and this man like comes up and takes his gun away from this other guy, and I was so confused because I thought they were talking about an actual cat, and I was like, how did a cat do that? Is that a phrase? I've literally never heard that before. Cat in the grass. Anyway, yeah, there's like pages, multiple paragraphs, multiple pages at points dedicated to describing just the setting. And like, I like things that are atmospheric and descriptive, but it just seems like a lot. I'm like, do I need to know every single thing that exists in this room, in this house? I don't think that I do. Okay, I will see you guys when I hit the 100 page mark. So I got to page 100, but I think I am gonna DNF this because it's just very slow, and like I said, I don't think that I'm really connecting with this author's writing so far, and I don't really find myself very compelled by what's going on or by the characters. We have a timeline that takes place in 1989, and then there is a timeline that takes place in 1917, but the 1989 timeline is the main timeline of the story. We are following this woman named Nellie, and she has found out that her grandfather has died, and he ended up leaving her his estate where he basically has like 1,000 acres of land, with like a barn and a house and some other structures, but mostly like a large wooded area. He has left that to her, and she takes advantage of that because she's in an abusive relationship and she has an 11-year-old son. So to get herself out of this situation, she takes her son, gets the keys to the property, and is basically like, we're starting over, this is our life now. However, there were some weird things that happened leading up to the death of her grandfather and the circumstances surrounding that, and there is a little bit of weirdness that we're getting in the 1917 timeline that of course I think is gonna kind of have like a generational vibe to it as far as the horror goes. It's also described as being a cosmic horror, and I feel like there have been little hints of like things that are to come that do have my interest, but I'm just not really vibing with the writing style and the story development so far. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to DNF or not, but I decided to look up some reviews. Most recently, I remember seeing Gabby Reads read this in a vlog, so I was like, well, let me go back and watch and see what she said about it. And she said she ended up giving it 2.5 stars, and that when she finished it, she felt like it was a book that she should have DNF'd earlier on, and she was let down by the ending. She felt like it just wasn't worth the effort that it took to get through the book. So I think that kind of solidified it to me. The main complaints that I see people saying about this is that it doesn't need to be this long, and I would agree based off of what I've read so far. It's just very, very slow. I'm not really interested in it, and you know, I have so many books on my TBR, like why waste time on something that I'm not really enjoying? Because even if I read it and I end up liking like the later half of the book, like it still took me how long to get there? You know, it's not really worth it in my opinion. So I need to go find my boyfriend now. I mean, I know where he is, but I need to go enlist him to pick me another book. So unfortunately, the book did not match the cover in this case, because I do think this is a really cool cover. I just was not vibing with the book. So my boyfriend is here. He's going to pick a new one. Do you know which one you want, or do you want to look at the synopsis or the covers again?
So, for this one, I'm gonna go off of title, I think.
Ooh.
Which...
Wait. Give me like a top 3. Let's build up some anticipation.
Cold Skin sounds pretty cool. Children of the Dark is very interesting sounding as well. It's very kind of ominous. Cursed Bread has I don't know, definitely sounds interesting title as well.
Yeah.
That caught my eye as well. And then I don't know, they're all kind of interesting, I guess, except for Dead Water. Honestly, that sounds kind of generic. Very generic. And
you didn't like the cover of that one either.
Yeah, it was kind of man, that one, you know. But that being said, I think I'm going to choose Cursed Bread.
Oh, really?
Because I don't know, those are the one that definitely stick out to me.
Okay. Cursed Bread. Should we read what it's about? I don't even know. Mm-hmm. That is very long. Such a long synopsis.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay. Still reeling in the aftermath of the deadliest war the world has ever seen, the small town of something I can't pronounce collectively lost its mind. In that town lived a woman named Elodie, the baker's wife. A plain, unremarkable person, largely ignored by her husband and everyone else. She burned with the secret hunger to be extraordinary, to be desired, to be seen. When a charismatic new couple arrive in town, the forceful ambassador and his sharp-toothed wife, Violet, Elodie quickly falls under their spell. All summer long, she stalks them through the shining streets, inviting herself into their home, trying to decipher their coded conversations, longing to possess them at any cost. Meanwhile, beneath the tranquil surface of village life, strange things are happening. 6 horses are found dead in a sun-drenched field, laid out like an offering. Widows see their lost husbands walking along the river at night, coming back to claim them. A teenage boy throws himself into the bonfire at the midsummer feast. A dark intoxication is spreading through the town, and when Elodie finally understands her role in it, it will be too late to stop it. Oh, it says it's an erotic tale of transformation.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking this is going to be at least a little bit gay. Because why would they mention the wife's name, Violet, of the, like, new couple? Because why would they put her name in there but not the husband's name? They're going to be smashing. So I have bad news. I am, like, almost 50% through Cursed Bread now, which is, page 83. And I'm not really liking it. I'm really bored. If this was any longer than it is, I would probably also be DNFing this one. But I think what I'm going to do is switch to the audiobook for a little bit because I've been wanting to paint my nails. So I feel like if I switch to the audiobook, I can paint my nails and then maybe it'll make this a little bit easier to get through. Right now, we are just following these 2 women that I mentioned in the synopsis. So we have Elodie, who is the baker's wife, and then the new couple that comes to town. And it's just kind of like an obsession. Like, you can tell Elodie is kind of obsessed with this other woman, Violet, and we kind of have, like, not fully dual timeline, but we get, like, letters that Elodie is writing to Violet after something has happened, and then we get, like, the present day past chapters, I don't know, of, like, leading up to whatever this thing is that has happened. But it's extremely slow so far for a book that's as short as it is. Like, nothing has really happened. There's been a few, like, weird things. Like, there's definitely something off about this new couple in town, and Violet herself is acting a little bit strange, but other than that, it's just, like, Elodie being, like, obsessed with this woman and, like, obsessed with her relationship, and it's not really, like, giving the gay vibes that I was wanting. Like, it's giving, like Elodie wants Violet, but I don't think Violet is really giving off those same vibes. But we know, like I said, that something happens that I think a lot of the people in this town end up dead, and Violet is somehow involved in that, and I don't really know, like, nothing else is happening, and I'm so bored, and it doesn't help that I'm, like, really tired today, so I'm going to try out the audiobook and see. It says from where I am now in the book, I have 3 hours left. If I listen at 2 times speed, which is probably what I will do because that's, like, normal for me, it's like an hour and a half. So we'll see if I finish this tonight. We'll see if the audiobook makes it easier to get through. I don't know, but I'll see you guys later. Well, I finally did it. I finished Cursed Bread. And I don't want to talk about it for very long because I did not like it. I'm torn between giving it 2 stars or giving it 1 star because I really, really did not enjoy this at all. I was, like, bored to death. It was really, really difficult to get through for being less than 200 pages. It was crazy. I feel like it was so slow. Nothing really happened until the last, like, 20 pages. And I enjoy what happened in the last 20 pages. But I wish that was more of the story. I feel like the synopsis is a little misleading as well. Like, they mention all of these strange things happening in the town, like the horses being found dead, lost husbands walking along the river at night, a teenage boy throws himself into the fire, and I feel like including those in the synopsis makes it seem like, oh my god, like these are such crazy big moments that are gonna happen, and there's gonna be more strange things in addition to that. But like, I feel like we just kind of like skipped over those parts, like they happened, and then that was it. It was like, oh, this happened. We found these horses dead, and everybody thinks it's weird. Oh well. And then it just like moves on. Also, I read the author's note at the end of this, and I was like, oh no, I think that might have been a spoiler, but it is included in the synopsis other places. But this is about a small French town that everybody died due to mass poisoning in 1951, and I guess nobody really knows exactly what happened, and that is what this book is inspired by. So I don't know, I like I said, some of the things that happened at the end, but I wish more of the book was like that. And the reason why I don't want to give it 1 star is because it's not like objectively bad, like it's not poorly written or anything. Like I think the writing was fine, is extremely descriptive, like the setting was painted very well, but I just felt so disconnected throughout the story. Like I said, I was bored out of my mind. It felt like nothing happened. I think for a very specific type of person, this will work. If you like things that are more subtle and really, really slow like that, and then coming to a big conclusion where you get more answers, maybe you'd like this. It's historical. It's about, I don't know, interpersonal relationships between people, and this woman becoming obsessed with this couple and the things that they might be hiding, and she's unhappy with her life and with her relationship, and she wants what they have, and that kind of spirals. I don't know. I feel like that's like the most comprehensive things that I can say about this. I really did not like this. I'm done. I don't ever want to think about that book again. Okay, we are back now for him to pick book number 3. Unfortunately, the first 2 were kind of flops, so hopefully this one is a little bit better. So I have gone to the library. There are 4 new titles in the stack. We have Queen of Teeth at the top by Haley Piper, The Center, How to Survive a Horror Story, and White Horse are the 4 new titles that we added. So I'm going to hand these off to my boyfriend, and we're going to see what happens.
Okay.
So are you just going to pick some that intrigue you, or are you going to read all of them?
I'm just going to pick some that intrigue me.
And then read the synopsis?
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay, we are back now. Give me your pile of rejects first. We'll put those back on the shelf and then see what you're interested in. Okay, all of these are rejects. What are the ones that are intriguing you?
I did these for the 3. Because, I don't know, they seem interesting.
These are the 3. We have The Center, Dead Silence, and Cold Skin. So these 2 are rejects then too?
Yeah. For
Okay.
now.
For now. I'm putting these 2 back. So we have 3 choices. Which one is it gonna be? I feel like I know.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought this was gonna be like the first book you chose because it's like space sci-fi. I've heard a lot of mixed things. There are a lot of people that don't like this book. Hopefully I'm one of the ones that does like it, so we'll see.
Seems interesting.
So that is book number 3 chosen. I will see you guys once I start this one. Hello, I am now reading the 3rd book for this video, which is Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. I set the mood last night with my little Halloween ambiance and sat down and started reading this book. I've been reading it today, and I am now on chapter 16, which is page 164. So I am like around the halfway mark, and it is going well so far. I hope that it continues to go well. Let me give you the premise. The main character that we're following, her name is Claire, and she is the team lead on this crew, this like maintenance crew that travels in space, and they do these like long contract terms basically. I think it's like 20 something months that they're up there just doing maintenance and repairs and stuff, and right before they're getting ready to head back home, they pick up a distress signal from a ship or something out there in the grand realm of space. And it's kind of similar to, like, I've definitely read a few sci-fi books that start off this way, where there's a distress signal and, you know, the crew's like, well, it's our obligation to go and help whatever's happening. And they look into the signal and they realize that it's coming from something that must be at least 20 years old, and they can tell just because of the type of emergency signal it is. I don't know, don't ask me. So at this point they're not really sure like if it's actually an active thing, if it's worth checking out, but they decide to do that, and they end up coming upon the Aurora, which is like this huge vessel that was used for space tourism. So basically it was made to kind of resemble a cruise ship, but to go into space. So it's for all these like fancy ultra rich people, and it went on its maiden voyage 20 years ago, and then communication got cut off and the ship was never seen or heard from again, even though there was a big search and rescue party that was sent out. So now this crew that we're following has just stumbled upon this 20 years later, and they know this is like huge, right? Like, this ship has been missing for 20 years. It's like probably a super big unsolved mystery, and I think they said it was like the worst mass casualty of like any sort of space incident like that. So this is a big deal for them. However, instead of deciding to just like report this and like still go home, they decide to board this ship to investigate it, and then they also are trying to take like a souvenir or something so that they can stake their claim. Like, once they get home, they can be like, oh, we were there because we have this piece of whatever it is that you can only find on the ship, and this just proves like that we're the ones that found it. I don't know, I don't really understand it, but then they get on the ship, and now they are deciding that they are going to stay on the ship and travel with it back into, basically, like, it's outside of the realms of what their like space communication, their comm web is set up for, so they have to bring it back in to where they can get online and like send out a message to somebody, and they want to do it with the Aurora itself so that they can like prove extra that they are the ones that found the ship. I don't know if all of that makes sense. There's definitely been some decisions made that I don't personally agree with and just don't make sense to me, but whatever, you know. I'm not here to read about the characters doing everything I want them to do. I'm here to read about the characters making their own decisions. Claire, I'm not the biggest fan of her. She has grown on me a little bit. I just kind of found her a little bit annoying towards the beginning. And also I feel like this type of sci-fi where it's like space sci-fi that is very like kind of action focused, I think that a lot of times the characters for me fall into these different stereotypes. And Claire has kind of done that a little bit, although, like I said, we are getting some character development and growth because we are learning more about something she went through in her past, which is causing her to react to things the way that she does now. But now that they are on the ship, they are starting to uncover more about what happened when it first went missing and what caused the death of all of these people. They are discovering bodies, and weapons and blood and just crazy things that are essentially frozen in time, but scenarios that don't make sense as far as how these people died. And the more that they learn, the more perplexed by the situation they are. So that's really interesting. Like, that has me so curious to see like what happened and what the explanation is for everything. I do believe that there are going to be some space ghosts coming in. The blurb on the front says it's an ultimate haunted house story in space. So I'm assuming there's going to be some space ghosts, and there has been a few sightings so far. As far as like the writing, I am enjoying it so far. I think that S.A. Barnes really set the scene very well and described the ship in very vivid detail where I can easily picture what's happening and where we are and what life is like for these people out there in space and what the ship is like, and it's very eerie and unsettling, so I think that comes across really, really well. But all in all, it definitely has my attention. It's one that, like, earlier today I was thinking about this book because I was like, oh, I just want to pick it up and like keep reading. I want to know like what happened to this ship. I want to know the explanation for some of the bizarre things that we have encountered so far in the story. So I'm really, really excited to keep reading this. I hope it continues to go well, and I will see you guys later. Hello, this is my post-workout look, but I am back with an update on Dead Silence because I did finish it and I really, really liked this. There were a few points where I felt like it could be a 5-star read, but I think I'm gonna land on 4 stars, and I'm so happy to have finally read this. Reading this just reminded me like how much I love sci-fi that takes place in space. That is definitely one thing that was like absolutely nailed within the writing, is that atmosphere, like the feeling of how vast space is, and it gives you that very existential sort of feeling, and it really added to the horror of the story of like, I don't know, I just feel like I could picture it so well, and the Aurora, like the ship itself, was described so well. Once again, I felt like I could picture it so well. I felt like I was there with the characters, and in some ways, like, the Aurora does kind of feel a little bit like a character in the book. I just really enjoyed the way that the ship was spoken about throughout the story and by the characters. I just feel like it was such a fascinating situation, and that is really what kept me hooked throughout most of the story. So for me, the atmosphere is what made this, and it has me wanting to pick up so much more like sci-fi horror now. I have a few sci-fi horror on my TBR, but I feel like this book just kind of gave me that feeling that I'm like, I just want to read more of this. I did end up requesting S.A. Barnes' other novel, Ghost Station, on Libby. I got the audiobook of that, so I think I'm going to try to get to that soon, because I was very, very pleasantly surprised by this, because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like I've seen a lot of not great reviews recently. I think when it first came out, I remember seeing like a bunch of really good reviews for it, and then recently I feel like I've been seeing not the greatest reviews, so I'm really glad that I did pick it up, because I had kind of been putting it off a little bit. So shout out to Past Me for putting it on my 2025 TBR, and shout out to my boyfriend for picking it for me to read and like giving me that push to read it, because I am so happy. Like, I really, really enjoyed this. Aside from the atmosphere, I loved the actual horror elements as well. It is paranormal. These people are seeing, well, our main character is seeing ghosts, and the other people that are involved in this incident are seeing hallucinations, and there are a lot of other strange things going on. I feel like the mystery was so compelling and like really had me so invested in finding out what happened to the Aurora, and like how like 500 something people just ended up dead and clearly like went mad before that happened. I don't know, I just feel like this was crafted so well. I did enjoy the reveal. I enjoyed where the story went. I like the way that things wrapped up, but this is definitely one where it's gonna stick with me because the atmosphere was so rich of like just being in space and being on this ginormous vessel. I think all of that was very, very fun. I'm so happy to have read this. Now let's move on to the next book. Hello, we are here to pick book number 4. Before we get into that though, I want to do a little taste test, because we just got back from the store and they have these and I've never seen them before, but they're Flamin' Hot Cheetos that are dill pickle flavored. And I don't eat Cheetos very often, but I do like the Flamin' Hot ones, and I love pickles. So let's see, my boyfriend's here also. He's gonna do this taste test with us. We'll give it a rating at the end.
to be hot too.
Very pickly. Yeah.
I'm pleasantly surprised with the amount of pickle.
Yeah, same.
Right. It's a good amount.
I would probably give it, I don't know, like a 6.5 out of 10 or 7 out of 10. It's good. It's above average. It's not my favorite.
I like the corn ones probably the most.
Molly thinks these Cheetos are for her and she keeps yelling at us. Come here. Anyway, we're going to put the Cheetos on the side now. What is your method for picking this next book?
I don't know, what should I do?
I don't know. Because you've been picking stuff that, like, you said you found interesting. Right?
Oh, should I pick the one I think looks the worst?
Yeah, you could choose, like, the one you think I'll hate the most. Or, if you want to be nice to me, you can choose the one that you think I'll like the most.
Nah. I don't know about all that. Let me read through here. I think I might look for the trash, if it is per se, and say what book that I think would just sounds okay. That was already a contender right there, Queen of Teeth. Just because that's something that I would. Not that I'm like against the story, but that's just like not. I guess I'm not really into hoarder books much to begin with, so that's, I don't know. This doesn't sound like my thing.
Okay, we have come to a conclusion that all of these are safe. They're going back on the shelf. And these are the 3 contenders for what? The worst sounding,
the least appealing.
Least appealing, okay.
From my perspective.
Which is Craft Stories I Wrote for the Devil, which you said sounded lame, which is fine. Don't Let the Forest In sounds, quote, cringe. But I feel, like I said, this is the only young adult book that is in this stack, so.
Why, maybe.
And then the whole teeth vagina thing is just not speaking to you.
No, it's very odd, but I respect that.
All right, I'm gonna hand them back to you.
Okay.
And I'm gonna shut my eyes, and we're gonna see. It's Queen of Teeth. I'm so excited to read this. I just read a very strange scene in Queen of Teeth, which I shouldn't be surprised by, and I'm not surprised by because, like, I was expecting this to be kind of weird, but I just wasn't expecting that to happen in what I just read. And I don't know how I'm feeling about this so far. I'm 60 pages in. I just got to I just got to part 2, which is called Peanut Butter. But should I tell you what it's about? It's kind of hard to explain. The main character that we are following, her name is Yaya. And she is like, how do I explain this? There was this thing that happened where there was some strange genetic mutation. Women that were pregnant were affected, their fetuses were affected by this thing, and now they have this condition where, like, they, how did they explain it? Like, one zygote eats the other zygote, and so they're like twins, but one was consumed by the other, and you're like, okay, that's not that weird because, like, that's a real thing. But there's this other condition where, basically how they explain it, they said, if this condition happens when zygote A eats zygote B, then this is what happens when zygote B bites back. And it's basically when that zygote continues to develop into another twin, but it doesn't happen until, like, years later, like past puberty. So it's like, after the birth, because when the zygote consumes the other zygote, that happens, like, in the womb, and so then it just comes out as one baby. But this is like the other zygote rebels after this person has been born and, like, gone through puberty and is of mature age. So something happened to cause this to happen to a bunch of different people, and now there is this company called Alpha Beta Pharmaceutical that is, like, made to deal with this, and they provide, like, mandatory checkups for these people just to monitor for any conditions or, like, development of this weird twin thing. I don't really understand, But that is what is happening to our main character. She discovers teeth in her vagina, and then that then grows tentacle-like appendages, and now it has horns. And this company obviously like is on the hunt for her because they want to control this situation. Like, they don't want this thing getting out because it can be very dangerous and all this stuff, and it's not really a very common thing. So I don't know, but she's on the run. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. This is my second book that I've read from Hailey Piper, and I don't know if maybe like Hailey Piper's writing style is just not for me, because I want to like it, but not that I'm disliking it. It's just like, it's just okay. It's not giving me like what I was really wanting, where it was going to be like crazy and unhinged and weird. It is, but not in the way that like I want it to be. I don't even know if that makes sense. It's definitely a personal preference, but I'm just feeling okay about it so far. So I'm gonna keep reading and see where the story goes in the second part. But yeah, that last scene that I just read was so strange, because not only strange in like subject matter, but just strange in like, I don't understand why that happened. Like, I don't understand why certain characters made the decisions that they did, because it just, I don't know, doesn't make any sense to me. But moving on, I'm gonna keep reading. Book number 4 is now finished. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I don't know, I just feel like, once again, Hailey Piper maybe is just not the author for me. I had a very similar experience with this one to the last one that I read by her, which was Your Mind is a Terrible Thing. And both of them I was intrigued by. They started off good, and then the further I got into the book, the less enjoyment and intrigue that I had in the story. By the end of this one, I just found myself not really caring about what was going on. And I feel like a lot of it comes down to the writing and the writing style of it. This is in third person, and it's a transformation story. It is transformation horror, and I really, really love that, especially when it's done like this. Like, there's definitely commentary in here. There is feminine rage. It's about autonomy, and it's about identity, and all of those things. Like, I love commentary. I love a transformation story, but I didn't like the way this was written because, like I said, it's in third person, and so I feel like I want it to be more in our main character's head as she is going through this transformation, and I just don't think we got that. I just felt very disconnected from the main character and everything that was happening throughout the book. It felt like I was in a different room and I was like watching everything that was happening, but I didn't feel like I was there, and it just didn't give me the vibe that I was looking for. I feel like a little bit of the descriptiveness could have been a little bit better as well. I feel like things were described very simply and described the same way multiple times, and I feel like I had a difficult time picturing what this creature looked like, except for the cover art. Like, referencing the cover art, I was like, okay, I see like what's going on here, but I just couldn't picture it in my head. I felt very disconnected from the story, and I don't know, I want to like Hailey Piper. I think, you know, I get why other people do, but it's just not working for me. So let me know if you think, what is it called? A Game in Yellow is worth picking up if you've read that one, because that is on my TBR, but I just don't know if me and this author's writing style really work that well together. Anyway, I'm going to grab my boyfriend in a minute, and he's going to pick book number 5, which will be the last book. So I will see you guys soon. Let's get a drum roll.
Oh my gosh, okay, hold on.
It is the final book. No pressure, but we want to end on a high note.
Okay.
No pressure. It's fine. What's your method this time? If you have one.
I don't have a method this time. Okay. The method is just like what looks.
Feel the vibes. Close your eyes and just.
Well.
Like.
Yeah, it's a little unfair because one of the ones I was thinking about, Cold Skin. Even with Tristan. I've seen the movie of it, so like, I know you have too. So I feel like I shouldn't choose that one just because you have an expectation, or not expectation, but like this premise or maybe image in your mind of what to like expect.
Okay. You want to go with something?
I want to go with something.
Something. A book will be chosen. I don't know which one.
So I know which one I'm gonna go with here, and I was just asking, would you like to guess?
Would I like to guess which book you're gonna go with?
Which one I'm gonna go with, out of curiosity? Or would you like me to just,
I feel like you're gonna go with one of these two. Either The Center or Children of the Dark. Because you've said this one, like, the title intrigues you since the beginning. This one I feel like you probably like the cover of, and I know that you were mildly interested in it earlier. That's my guess. This is what we're working with, by the way.
Okay.
It is The Center.
I felt personally attacked about that earlier, by the way. You're like, probably one of these two, and she just picks one of them up. I'm like,
What draws you to this one?
I don't know, it's just a cult. Or not a cult, but cult kind of seemingly vibes.
Cult
maybe.
vibes. I have high hopes for this, so hopefully it's good. Guess what's here? Now listen. I did cancel my Aardvark subscription a while ago. Not because of anything against Aardvark. I absolutely love Aardvark. I think they're like the best as far as like monthly book subscriptions. Their book picks are always the greatest. Aardvark, if you want to sponsor me, just let me know. Anyways, I did it to save money, and then also because I'm trying to read more of my physical TBR and not acquire more books. So of course you're like, so why is there an Aardvark package in your hands right now? Listen, when I heard that Aardvark was coming out with their own short story collection published by Aardvark with so many authors that I love, like, I can't just pass that up. And yeah, I could have waited and ordered it like in the future, but because it's like an Aardvark exclusive, I didn't want to miss the opportunity to get it. So here we are. Of course, since I reactivated my subscription and was ordering stuff anyways, I did get 2 other books. But those 2 other books are books that I've previously read. So there's only one book that's going on my TBR. Let's open her up. Oh, it's been so long. I've missed you, Aardvark. Here she is. So this is the short story collection. It is called One Bad Night and Other Stories. It features authors such as Kay Chronister, Del Sandine, Kylie Lee Baker, Rachel Harrison, CJ Lead, Jennifer Thorne, S.A. Barnes, Stephen Graham Jones. So out of these, I don't know if this copy is like dirty or if it's supposed to look like that, but there's like stuff on it. I don't know. I fear it's not supposed to look like that. Anyways, out of these authors, there's only 2 that I haven't read from, which are Del Sandine and Jennifer Thorne. Everything else, like everybody else, I've read from and generally enjoyed from, so I'm so excited for this. Let's do the unveiling. Oh, I was not expecting that. That is so pretty. Hang on, we need to take this off and get the full glimpse at it. This is absolutely stunning. Here is the spine, and even the back has some foiling on it. So pretty. Do I know anything about any of the short stories in here? Absolutely not. But you tell me that Rachel Harrison, Stephen Graham Jones, CJ Lead all have stories in here. I'm reading it. Kylie Lee Baker? Are you kidding me? And S.A. Barnes, which you guys know I just read Dead Silence and really enjoyed. So super excited to read something from her. This is going to go in the unofficial October TBR. No promises on if I will get to it or not, but it is definitely at the top of the radar for the month. The other 2 books that I added to my box were The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. This is one of my few 5 stars from the year. I absolutely love Stephen Graham Jones. Let's look. Pretty basic, gray and black. Gray and black, gray and red. Yeah, Super excited to finally have this on my shelves. I can put it next to my other Stephen Graham Jones books. And then I also picked up American Rapture by CJ Lead, and this is a signed copy, I believe. Yes, there's the signature, if you can see it, I don't know. Let's look at the spine. I like those colors. It's just, they just feel so nice from Aardvark. Anyways, this is a book that I originally gave 4 stars when I read it, and that was all the way back in January, but like, let me tell you, this book has not left my mind since I've read it. I think of it very, very frequently, and positively, of course. Like, I mean, why would I be ordering it if I didn't have positive thoughts toward it, right? But I feel like, because I think of it so often, and when I think back on it, I'm like, damn, that really was a good book. I feel like I need to reread this and reevaluate my rating, because maybe it should be higher than a 4-star, but really, really enjoyed this one. So very happy to own it. So here are all of the Aardvark October picks. If you are interested in any of these, it is their 3rd anniversary, which is kind of what that short story collection was in celebration of. They also, oh my god, I got 4 bookmarks in this box. That's unusual, but they are special bookmarks for the short story collection, so they're kind of decorated with the same art. It says One Bad Night and other stories on the back. I don't know why there's 4 of them, but you know, whatever. I always need bookmarks. Also, I did go to the library and I picked up Edenville. This one, for the longest time, like, I had seen other people talk about it, but I feel like I'd seen people not give it the highest of ratings. But I got an arc, I don't know how to say this author's name, Sam Rebeline. Anyway, I got an arc of a short story collection that he published, was it earlier this year? Yeah, I think it was earlier this year. And I really, really liked it, and the short stories in that take place in the same world as this novel. So I'm really, really intrigued by it and curious to get into it, because it just, like, I don't know, the stories in that short story collection were like perfectly weird and creepy and unsettling, and I'm really, really excited for more of that in a full-length novel from him. Anyway, while we're here, let's stay on track with the video, right? I can tell you guys about The Center, which I did start last night. I am 100 pages into it. Instantly hooked. Like, within the first paragraph, I was like, okay, I'm here for it. And I started reading this on the couch, and I am not somebody who, like, I'm not the type of person who sits there for like 2 or 3 hours and like can read a book without moving. I know a lot of people are like that. I am constantly moving around, repositioning. I like to go in different rooms. Like, I'll come in here and I'll sit in my reading chair, or I'll go and sit in bed and read, and then I'll go back to the couch, and then I'll go to the kitchen table. Like, I like to move around a lot, but this literally sucked me in. I think it was just the writing style. Like, the way it starts off, it just feels like somebody is talking to you. Like, this is how it starts. It all began with Adam. Doesn't it always? We met at a literary translation studies conference at Senate House, and it was through him that I first learned of the center. Or, no, wait, actually, pause, rewind, and I don't know what, like, just that drew me in, because I was like, okay, girl, tell me your story. Where are we going? What's happening? And we start off hearing, what is our main character's name? Anissa? But it starts off with her detailing this relationship that she had with this man named Adam, how they met, and then how she came to know of this thing called the Center. She is someone who speaks Urdu, and I guess that's kind of like a dying language that not a lot of people speak, and it's very, very important to her. She spends her time translating movies into Urdu and like studying the language and studying translation in general, and that is something she's very passionate about. It is very important to her. So she meets Adam, and he can speak fluently like 10 or 11 different languages, and she's instantly like, what the fuck? They start up a relationship, and then she comes to learn of the Center, which is how he has learned all of his languages. And basically it's like super top secret language program, and when he tells her about it, he's like, this is a big deal, because It's literally like you sign an NDA and I can only ever tell one person in my entire life about this thing. So if I'm telling you, like, you have to take this shit seriously and you can't say anything to anybody. And so he ends up telling her about the center, and now we are with her as she goes to the center because she wants to learn German, and they have a very interesting process to it. I think it's 10 days that they're there. They are cut off, no communication with the outside world. They only have one person within the center that they are actually able to speak to. They cannot acknowledge anybody else that's there, and they just have a very rigorous program and a very strange program that the language just becomes like absorbed into the person's mind, and nobody really can explain how it works, or maybe they can and they just don't want to tell our main character. But I don't know, the writing paired with like the strange surreal sort of situation that's happening is so fascinating to me. How I started this whole clip was saying that I started this book on the couch, and normally I move around a lot when I read, but I was so sucked in that I was like, I had to force myself to like put this down and like go brush my teeth and like get ready for bed. And then I was like, okay, but I can't go to sleep. I need to read a little bit more. It drew me in instantly. I'm so intrigued in the story and where it's going. I think our main character is really interesting. I found her relationship with Adam and the whole exploration and description of that and how it started and everything that happened during it and then kind of how it ended was so interesting. And I think it's really just the way that it's written and the way that the author is telling the story. So I'm very curious and excited to continue this one. I will come back and let you guys know once I finish it. It also like kind of gives me the same weird vibes of like Natural Beauty and Rouge, but it's not like wellness and like beauty centered, or like Catherine House, if you guys have read that one. Where it's just like the center is just this weird mysterious place that is like very secretive, and there's clearly something going on deeper that the characters don't know about. I did finish it. Oh, hello. All done.
Thoughts, ratings?
I feel like I liked the beginning better than the later half. I feel like it lost me a little bit, but I liked it. I think I'm gonna give it like 3.5 stars. So I feel like it was interesting. Like I liked the atmosphere of it, and there was definitely like commentary on like race and privilege, and then also like the whole idea of it and talking about like language and the main character like translating things. I thought was really interesting. Just because I think that's interesting in general, like thinking about book translations and how that's done. So I enjoyed it. The beginning really pulled me in, and then the later half kind of lost me a little bit.
Fair enough.
And it's I don't know, it's one that like I don't think I would recommend it to like everybody, because I can see why people don't like it. I don't know if this author has any other books out, but I would definitely read another one because I really liked the writing style. So as you can see, I had reading sprints with Brooklyn and Brianna recently. That was my first time ever doing reading sprints. I had so much fun. If you are watching this video as it comes out, we are doing another reading sprints live this upcoming Sunday. So I will have that link down below. You can go and set a notification if you are wanting to join us for some more reading sprints. It was really fun. I finished my book. We got to talking about horror movies, talking about Halloween activities, and of course talking about our books. So love to have you come hang out with us. Anyway, during the reading sprints, I ended up finishing the center, which was my goal for the sprints. So I was very proud that I actually completed it like at the last minute too. And obviously I included some clips so you can kind of see how I was feeling initially after finishing the book. I am going to stick with my 3.5-star rating. My favorite thing about this was the writing style, and I think it was really fun that at the end we kind of get a reasoning as to why the book is written in the way that it is, which I really enjoyed. I also really liked the dark and mysterious tone, kind of unsettling tone throughout the whole story as we are getting more involved with the center. I just wish that I enjoyed the second half more. I don't know if I was necessarily a big fan of like the direction that the story took. I like the reveal was fine, but I don't know if it just like all happened in the way that I would necessarily like. I feel like we do lose the plot a little bit in the second half of the book, but overall I really enjoyed it. As I mentioned, I would definitely read more from this author just because I loved the way that this was written, and I feel like she could definitely, if she does decide to write more horror novels, I think she could definitely have the potential to write something that I really love. So I will be keeping my eye on her. I don't know if I would recommend this to everybody. I think it has to be a very specific type of person. If you are interested in any of the topics that I mentioned this book covering, specifically language and translation, but also, like I said, it does talk about privilege, and also race is a very big part of it for the character. So if any of that interests you, you like something like this that is dark and secretive, and just kind of feels very strange and ominous throughout the whole story, but is not fever dreamy. Like, it's very clear what is happening and what the character is experiencing, so it's not like confusing in that sense. If all of those things sound like something good, and if you also don't mind something that's like slower, because this is pretty slow, and for a lot of the book, like, there's not really a lot happening and a lot of plot development. If all of that sounds like something you could enjoy, then I would recommend it. So with all of that being said, that was the last book for this video. So to recap, I read 5 books for this video, starting off with The Hollow Kind, which was unfortunately a DNF. Then we moved on to Cursed Bread by Sophie Mackintosh, which was also not very good. I ended up landing on 1.5 stars as the rating for that one. Then we moved on to Dead Silence and got our first win for the video, which I gave it 4 stars. Still thinking about that book. Then I read Queen of Teeth by Haley Piper, which was a bit of a letdown because I had very high expectations personally for that book. And then we are finishing off with a 3.5 with The Center. So overall, not bad. Thank you all for watching. I will see you for the next installment in the Boyfriend Chooses series, same time next year.